Hello and welcome to another episode of Never Onside. Hi, this is Joseph, and joining me as usual is Mayur for our weekly podcast. Uh, First of all, this week has been very interesting because Arsenal have managed to drop points again, and they have continuously dropped points for 2 weeks in a row right now,
Yes.
and it has opened up the title race like never before. And City are looking like they are in the form of their in the best form this season, with Haaland scoring, with Grealish playing so well, and all the other players coming to the fore with Akanche, Ake, and other players who have been in and out of the team, coming in and settling in with Bernardo Silva playing key roles, with Gundogan also playing pivotal roles, and it looks like City could win this at the last moment, and Arsenal have again given them an opportunity, which finally this would be decided by the match between these two sides. Eventually, that is what is going. It's going to boil down to that. So let's get into all the other action from this week. Yeah. So these were the matches, and straight up you could see that Chelsea versus Brighton was the one of the most anticipated matches for this weekend, because you wanted to see how Lampard would play against the Brighton side, who are, according to Pep, one of the best teams who could pass out from the back. But Chelsea did cause Brighton a lot of problems in the sense that a Gallagher pressing, and with the high intensity that Pulisic and Sterling and Gallagher had, I think, and also Mudrik also played. So initially, Brighton struggled a bit to build from the back, but they were not short of any chances, Brighton, because they hit the post um, within the first few minutes as well. But Chelsea going ahead with a beautiful run by Gallagher, which ended up being, like, he scored a. It was a fortunate goal that went in, and Brighton again equalized, and then they got the winner as well. And moving forward, Spurs versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth winning against Spurs at home. This shows that Spurs are very erratic in throughout the season, and City winning 3-1 against Leicester. Did you follow this match, man?
Yes. So this game was done in the first 30 minutes itself. Like we have seen a lot of teams who played in Champions League this weekend rotated a lot, but City didn't rotate at the start. Apart from their the defenders, they kept the attackers the usual culprits. But we saw they managed to switch the game, and what we have been telling about in the second half, City tried a lot of changes, made a lot of changes. Even Rodri was changed, and Calvin Phillips came on, and we saw there were a lot of mistakes. Leicester could have easily equalized in the second half itself. So they were lucky to come out with those points after being so dominant in the first half, scoring goals for fun. The second half, which we have seen in the case of Arsenal as well, Arsenal dropped points, but again we saw Zinchenko, who is generally a good passer of the ball, make some sensible decision. This time around, they missed him. Tierney was trying to find the aggressive passes and lost the ball a couple of times. Same goes for Partey. When Partey plays alongside Zinchenko, Zinchenko generally controls the tempo, is able to find the safe passes and everything. But this time around, Arsenal did the same mistakes, like which they did against Liverpool as well. Trying to be over aggressive, couldn't control the games. In the Liverpool game, Odegaard was substituted and it changed the game because he's again a controller of the ball. And this time around, they were clearly missing Zinchenko. So yeah, talking about the City game, interesting. Now Foden is also in the mix back. He just trained today. And apart from that, one more game was I wanted to talk about on Saturday is the Villa Newcastle game. So now we have known Newcastle was playing decent football at the start of the season. Then a lot of teams started to figure out what Newcastle is doing. But in this game specifically, Aston Villa read, like Unai Emery read Newcastle's every attack and every strategy they had like a book. Newcastle couldn't come out with anything. In the last game, they tried to make halftime changes and they were successful and they got the points. But this time around, even after Newcastle making some halftime changes, Aston Villa were just ready for everything and they scored these 3 goals. And Unai Emery has now won some 8 games in a row, and they are also looking for those European titles, European spots. Sorry. So it will be
Yeah,
interesting to
and
see.
Watkins is almost unplayable right now. The way he is dominating defenses and finishing his chances. Towards in the start of the season, he couldn't score. He's struggling a lot, but Unai Emery has definitely changed his fortunes. Yeah, so let's move on.
Yes. Yes. So
So
as we yes,
yeah,
the West Ham Arsenal, as we said, again Arsenal not in the greatest form, and we have seen now they don't have much things to do apart from the Premier League, but still they are struggling with some injuries, and we have seen players who are like Saliba and Zinchenko are the two main players from their defense who like to control the ball, and they are missing them both. So it's interesting to see how it's happening. So, Jose, what are your thoughts as we mentioned in the initial part? You said it's up to now up to them to win their games, but do you think City still has a chance, as in like can City overtake?
yeah, I think definitely on current form, I would bet on City to win it. But everything rests on that game between Arsenal and City. It's still in Arsenal's hands. If they don't lose, they'll still win it, I think. Yes, so in that sense, Arsenal have it in their hand. They can go on and win all the matches that they have right now, and win the Premier League. And coming this far, like throughout the season, they had like 5, 6, 7 points gap with the second point team, and right now towards the most crucial point, they are struggling. And I'm sure Arteta would be trying to motivate his players and would rush all the injured players back because he knows that this is the crunch time where they have to perform, especially against the City side who have found their groove um, right at the back end of the season. And this is where it matters. This is where they have to show that they are champions.
Yes.
And I,
And
I, I feel, yeah,
the main thing being, I was reading a lot of Arsenal fans saying City has the bench strength and everything. Yes, Pep has managed and rotated, but he has changed his style as well accordingly. Like when we have seen Walker not playing, there is a different way they play. Yesterday, when Walker played, there is a different style. So, do you think Arsenal have been like stuck to a primary way of playing, and if the players are not there to facilitate that, then they are losing the control and games as well? So that, do you
yeah.
think that
So
is the case?
the thing is, Arsenal are a developing side. If you look at Pep a couple of years down back, you would see that he also had a fixed strategy at some point where they destroyed teams 4-0, 5-0, and then it got found out. Then they struggled to beat defenses like that. Initially, they every game they played it was 5-0, 6-0, and then in Premier League you get found out, like you said again about Newcastle and Aston Villa. So similarly, Arsenal are kind of going through a slump, but it's more down to their players not being fit or injured. If they had, so this is something we had always discussed throughout the season, that do they have the um, bench strength if their influential players get injured? But they showed that they brought in NKT, and Nelson came on in some matches, scored as well. When Jesus was out, they coped without him. And like even we thought when Partey was out that their season would be done, but they have been so good so far. But right now, when they have to stay focused, they are showing a lack of maturity in the side, because they could have won this, they could have managed this game a lot better, considering that they had a 2-0 margin against a very struggling side like West Ham. So that is where champions are made, where you see out those matches without taking too many risks. So this is something which Arsenal will develop in the future. but you can see that there is a lack of personal, lack of depth, and also a lack of experience as well.
So now let's move on to United Hose. I felt they were unlucky to just come out with two goals the way they
Right.
played. So Hose, you
Uh,
can give just a quick recap of the game.
yeah. So Sabitzer had a injury while he was warming up, so that's why Ericsson came into the fore. With he played really well considering that it was his first full game where he started, and Bruno Fernandes was unplayable in this game. He absolutely dominated the game. He picked the passes whenever he wanted. Martial, you could see what difference he makes in the side because he is not afraid to take on players. He passes the ball at the right time. The first goal that Anthony scored was all Bruno and Martial. So if you can keep them fit, Bruno, Martial, and Ericsson, Casemiro's, these players are very crucial in United finishing the season well. We know already that Martinez is out for the season. Varane is injured as well, so you'll have to see Maguire and Lindelof or Maguire and Shaw playing at centre back position. But I was kind of impressed by how Maguire and Lindelof played eventually because they kept a clean sheet. Maguire had an early scare where he pulled down the striker and got a yellow card, but then he managed the game a lot better after that. So for me, it was a very good performance, which shows that United have the depth um, to you know um, to go in all three fronts with Europa, FA Cup, and a place in the top four up for grabs. So again, Sabitzer was very crucial in the games before that. When he played in the advanced roles, he played really well. And when he got injured, someone like an Ericsson is back again to pull the strings in midfield. So overall, I'm very happy with the result. And hopefully we'll go on in this form and continue winning.
Yes. As you mentioned, Maguire, Lindelof as third and fourth centre backs are not that bad as people generally tell they are. So yeah,
Yeah.
interesting to see. And now Dagia has had the most clean sheets this season. I guess he's at the top currently with this clean sheet.
Oh,
Uh, yeah.
interesting.
So let's move on to the last game for this week. Again, Leeds shipping another whole lot of goals. They conceded five against Crystal Palace at Ellen Road, and again six against Liverpool at Ellen Road. First half, it was still even affair. Like there were chances, but not clear cut. But in the second, it was just fun. People were scoring, assisting for fun. So yeah, not much to say. The main thing which Liverpool has changed is Arnold playing in the midfield position now, which allows him to get into different positions, different angles, and everything, which has helped a lot. And it's a position which he will learn eventually. So let's see how that turns out as well. So